All righty, so I'm gonna take it from the top, and for those people who are looking at this on Facebook Live as well, I want to thank you for participating. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to, we're recording this, so this will be available. So you check on our YouTube page and such, and we want to be able to reference this as well, because this is an ongoing problem. And as I was sharing that high blood pressure affects about 1 of 3 Americans, but 1 of 2 adults, and and then heart disease is, most people in America are going to die from heart disease. Okay, that's number 1 killer, and number 2 are cancers. Okay, but this month, in the month of February, we're addressing heart health, health concerns, and of course it's the commemoration, or what people traditionally celebrate, is Black History Month and Valentine's Day. All right, so got to kind of combine a couple things here, because we're able to look at Black history and heart disease as well, and heart concerns, and look at making high blood pressure and heart disease Black history. Let's make this a thing of the past. Okay, let's not allow these preventable diseases, disorders, to disproportionately impact African Americans, and consequently other people of color. Okay, so about 1 of 3 Americans, 1 of 2 adults, 108 people, 108 million people between 50 and 64 have high blood pressure, and those numbers have been steadily rising. Okay, over the past, over time. That's 108 million people. That's a bunch of folks. Okay, and so why is this? Well, first of all, what is high blood pressure? High blood pressure currently is defined, in these standards, these measures have been changing over time, but it's currently when your blood pressure is more than 140/90. And those numbers, not familiar with it, you've got the what we call the systolic and the high, or the diastolic numbers, the high number and the low number, representing the heart when it's working and when it's at rest. When there's excessive pressure on the heart, when the heart is working too hard, it's it can lead to, and typically, if not managed, if not put in check, if not controlled, if not reduced, uh, tends to lead to heart disease. So then people have heart attacks, and they have strokes, and they have enlarged heart, and they have what we call cardiovascular disease. They have, I'm hearing from more people who have congestive heart failure. Okay, so by managing the high blood pressure, we're also able to avoid some other things that will come down the line. Now, high blood pressure alone is not going to kill you, but high blood pressure over time is going to do damage to the heart, and can very well be the reason why you leave this earth, aside from accidents. Now, what are some of the risk factors? Okay, what are some of the things that cause high blood pressure and their problems, and that in which are what we may call adulting behavior? Smoking definitely contributes to heart disease, high blood pressure and heart disease. Obesity contributes to high blood pressure. And then here's another big one, and there are others, but stress. So we're going to focus on these and say, what can we do? Because this is a condition that is a falls into the area of diet and lifestyle. In other words, it's not genetic. Okay. Even though, I mean, there can be some genetic linkage. You'll find that high blood pressure and heart disease and things like that runs in the family. But many times that's because these behaviors are common in the family. So let's say there's some genetic weakness, but how do we get it to, how do we avoid high blood pressure, heart disease from manifesting? That's by changing diet and lifestyle primarily. So excessive alcohol consumption, high fat diet, and then oftentimes doctors will talk about our sodium intake, and especially our sodium intake in comparison to other minerals. Okay, our sodium, potassium, and sodium minerals and other minerals, large minerals or macro minerals that we need. So there's two types of hypertension: essential hypertension. That's one we know why it is. And then there's a non-essential hypertension, where the cause is unknown. High blood pressure symptoms can include dizziness, headaches, digestive upset. And a lot of people have digestive disorders, and a lot of tens of thousands of people that we saw through Detroit Holistic Center had digestive distress disorders, gas, bloating, constipation, those things. And then emotional instability, headaches, fatigue, restlessness, sound familiar, difficulty breathing, insomnia, problems sleeping. Those can all be symptoms of a person having high blood pressure. So if you pay attention to the symptoms before it even manifests, if you pay attention to these other things and manage these, it is better to identify when your blood pressure is going up, even when you're marginal, and address it then than wait until it's way too high. I've spoken to too many people who say, they say, I've got high blood pressure. And sometimes it's around 140 over 90 or 150, or, over 95 or something like that. And then other times those numbers are quite high. Oh, it's 180 over 120 or something. The numbers can be really high. Say, wow, this has been going on for a while. Chronic hypertension is going to do damage to your heart. It's a symptom or indication that there's some things that are really out of line, out of balance. Some of the causes are diet, what we're eating. Okay, so we're going to address extrinsic and intrinsic factors. What you're eating and what's eating you. And so it's diet, atherosclerosis, elevated cholesterol, diabetes, and environmental factors. And the remedies are changes in lifestyle, changes in diet, reducing fat, sugar, and salt. So in other words, we have in America, we have something that's called this standard American diet. And if you use that as an acronym, we call SAD. So it's the SAD diet, standard American diet. What people have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, what's become the norm in America is really not healthy. What we ate, especially the African Americans, what we ate in Africa, in the rural area, in our indigenous societies, and what we eat today is vastly different. It's a whole lot different. Okay. And so when we came to America, and when we adopted this Southern diet and we are eating soul food or whatever, okay, that we also developed many of the diseases. Because if you do comparison, if you look at rural, particularly West Africans who have their traditional diet, and compare that to African Americans, you're going to find that they don't have heart disease. Okay, the heart disease is really low, but if they adopt a standard American diet, then they develop high blood pressure, heart disease, and these things, and vice versa. And when we have more of a traditional African diet, our indigenous diet, which would primarily be, first of all, plant-based. Okay, you'll hear, if you've heard me before, you'll hear me say this, again, plant-based. And what is plant-based? If it comes from a plant, you eat it. If it's processed in a plant, you avoid it. So it's more of the fresh fruits and vegetables, especially, when you can get them locally and in season. And when you're preparing, here's a key factor. When you're preparing these things at home yourself, okay? When you prepare it and you know what's in there, okay? Um, and for those of us that had parents or grandparents or great grandparents that lived well into their 90s or near 100 years of age, you'll typically find a couple things happen. One, oftentimes they came from the South and they lived it on or around a farm. Okay, they lived in the agricultural area, and for many of their formative years, in the early years, they ate the food that was around them. And someone also asked, they said, what did your grandparents call organic food? The answer to that is food. It was all organic. It was grown locally. They didn't put a lot of chemicals. They didn't put processing and all that. They grew it in even I'll say my godmother. She lived to be in her 90s, and she always had some, if there was some soil around her where she could grow something, tomatoes, a cabbage, or something, she grew it. So those people were close to the soil. So, and in Detroit and in other areas, they're encouraging more urban farming, more urban uh, gardens, and providing resources for that. And we'll talk about that on another time, at another time or call. But it's vitally important that we do that we have food security, that we have fresh food, that we recognize that Detroit and many urban cities are food deserts, and that we're having too many fast foods. In fact, we need to essentially eliminate the fast foods and eliminate going to I'm not going to name the major ones. You know all them, Mickey D's and all that. We need to eliminate a lot of that and get back into the kitchen, get back in the home, and take some time to prepare food this fresh, this healthy at home. Okay, to avoid a lot of the chemicals, a lot of things that are in there that are putting us out of balance. Okay, when we're not teaching our children how to prepare food and prepare their own food. So what happens is out of convenience and cost, because they make these foods artificially low in cost, right? It's like, why would it cost, let's say, $10 for a salad, and then it costs $3 for uh, a happy meal or something like that? Fast food, those prices are artificial. There's no way that you can raise a cow and it raises animals and put all the cost that it goes into doing that, and it costs more than if you were to put a seed or something in the ground and grow some carrots and kale, or tomatoes. Tomatoes grow like crazy. Okay, I had a garden last summer. It grew more tomatoes than I could eat. So these things grow very easily and inexpensively, and the cost on that is artificially low. And so if the cost, if we paid the true cost on the meat and a lot of these things, if it wasn't subsidized by the government, if it wasn't manipulated, in legislature or something, by the laws and legislature, if we had to pay the true cost, guess what? A lot of people would be plant-based. So plant-based is important. Grow it if you can. And I know everybody can't. Otherwise, connect with gardens, go to farmers markets, support local growers, and get your things as fresh, as least processed as possible. Know what you're putting in there. Then, so diet, vitally important. And then you need, that also contributes to some other essential elements, which is foods that are rich in potassium. So, so if you Google, look up, or speak to someone who's involved in nutrition, they'll say then you need foods rich in potassium. So potassium, calcium, magnesium are minerals, are vitally important. And these are minerals. Now, you got a couple of choices here. So first, you want to get minerals that naturally occur in the food. So when we have this plant-based diet, it's drawing the nutrients that are in the soil. So the best soil, the best organic matter, the best soil conditions are going to give you the most mineral rich foods. So, so your soil conditions and et cetera are going to make a major make a major difference, which is another reason to support local farmers and growers, and even develop relationships with them or speak to them. You go to we have the Eastern market here, and they got other markets across the country, and talk to them about how they grow in their agriculture and such. But you get your minerals from the foods first, and then there's oftentimes a need for supplementation. Most people are not getting enough of those minerals, and then the subsequent nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin C, even vitamin E, selenium. I call that ACEs, ACES. Easy way of remembering, right? My students know I like acronyms and hooks and such. ACES, and of course, vitamin D. We've been hearing a lot about that. In this part, especially in this part of the country and colder parts of the country, we don't get enough sun. We don't get enough exposure throughout the year on our bodies to the sun. So we're not, getting that produced naturally. We're not eating the foods that will contribute to us to be able to synthesize vitamin D. And so that leads not only to heart disease, heart concerns, but immune system problems and a whole host of other things, right? So, I will say this: for those people who can vacation, and that's a lot of folks, but can vacation, look for places where you can go and expose your body to the sun. You can get some sun, okay? Especially people of color, we need to go to the South or go someplace, go to the islands or something, and get that sun. We're solar powered people, folks. This melanin needs some sun. All right. Don't worry about getting too dark. Get too many people talk about that. Now you get dark, get black. You get black. Good. Your body's absorbing it. You don't have to burn yourself, but um get dark and get some sun. Omega-3s are important. And then CoQ10 is a very important nutrient as well. Then you're going to have then you're going to look at your food and your herbs. And my herbology students will enjoy this. But start off with your garlic, your onions, your cayenne pepper, hawthorn berry. These are foods that are good for the circulation. In fact, your garlic and your onions are very good for your immune system and your circulation. Okay. And guess what? And then it's also good for your gut health, your digestion, and your circulation. And then your cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper. And they say that your red foods, your tomato, your cayenne pepper, and your red food, your peppers and such are good for your circulation. And so you can think of the blood, think of the red, think of circulation, and kind of make that link there. But putting more cayenne into your food, some people, if they don't like hot foods, you can get it in capsules and add that into, make that a part of your diet. It improves circulation. It will cause your veins and arteries to open up. So what we're doing is we're facilitating, we're warming the body. We're um, we're again facilitating um, our circulation, improving the circulation through in our heart, but also through our veins, arteries, capillaries, or to all the small spaces as well. Okay, some of these herbs are what we call vasodilators. They open up the veins and arteries. Okay, so if you're with diet, if you're decreasing the things that would create congestion in the circulatory system, and then you're improving things that increase the circulation, then you're getting circulation all throughout the body. So yeah, we're talking about the heart and high blood pressure, heart concerns, but you want circulation throughout your body. You want circulation all throughout your brain and all the way to the tips of your fingers and toes as well. And when you're doing that, if you're getting good circulation to your hands, your feet, to your brain, it's going to decrease your risk for dementia and mental decline over time. And warm hands and warm feet. In fact, my mentor would say warm buns too, is good indication that your body's getting good circulation throughout. Okay, so if the circulation is getting to the smallest veins and capillaries and the farthest extensions in our body, then it's getting it all over. Okay, so it's getting if it's getting it here, it's getting it elsewhere too. And then cayenne, some interesting things about cayenne. Might share a different time where you can put it in your socks and you can use it other ways to keep your body warm too. Okay, especially in places like Michigan. So so what we're doing in lifestyle, smoking, weight loss, which is vitally important here. So the high blood pressure is a result or symptom of your heart working real hard. And guess what? Okay, so this is a depiction of 5 pounds of fat, right? Now that's only 5 pounds. Now just imagine some people have 10, even 20 times that much on the body. Imagine how much harder your body has to work if it's got this excess weight on it, right? Whole lot harder, right? So just imagine if you have a car and you put 500 pounds in your trunk, what's going to happen? The engine's going to run, it's going to burn more gas. It's going to be harder on the suspension system. It's going to cause more wear and tear on your car altogether. Well, what's happening is that when we have excess weight, then all systems of the body are working harder. And it tends to decrease our longevity or chances for longevity, right? So, so for the heart to work more efficiently, more easily, we're looking at the blood pressure. But you know what else we're looking at? We're looking at our pulse. We're looking at our heart rate. Boom, 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 boom. And for those, many of you know that I'm a runner. I love to run. I run practically every day. That's my that's my cardio. That's what helps me to stay balanced emotionally and such. But when we're doing cardio exercises and not just um, surgery or something or some procedure to artificially decrease weight, then we're dropping the rate, but also improving our heart health, our heart strength. So cardiovascular workouts, that's you're walking at a good pace, you're walking, you're running, you're skipping rope, and a number of different things. So look to get some cardiovascular exercise, right? Okay. And then and then look at your pulse rate. Now, and as a runner, so and I'm a regular blood donor. When I go to donate blood, they always measure they look at my blood pressure. They ask me am I taking any medication, et cetera. And I don't take any medication, by the way. But they look at these factors, but they also look at my heart rate or my pulse. Okay. And so they're finding that, and sometimes they've got to get approval because my pulse is below, maybe below 50, but that's a symptom that either the heart is weak or it's very efficient. So athletes and professional athletes and people who exercise vigorously tend to can tend to have low pulses, low heart rate, but it also can be a risk factor. So if you're not exercising and that pulse rate is low, then they can consider that to be weak, and that could be an indication of heart disease as well. So that's something to monitor. That get the exercise. Find some ways to exercise your body. So we don't just want to look at symptoms. We don't just want to look at your high blood pressure, but what's going on with your body? What is a high blood pressure? What is that indicating? Now, then let's see, smoking, weight loss. So let's get your work on getting your weight to a you may not be high school skinny. You may not get there, or it may take a while to get there, but you'd be surprised at what significant difference you can make, what adjustments you can make, especially if you do this over time. Can I get an amen, somebody? And then you'll feel better. If you feel better, it's better for your joints. We don't have to put on excessive weight just because of, and attribute that to age. Oftentimes we do, oh, when you get older, you're going to get whatever, you're going to get the middle age spread and such. Culturally, we accept that. That becomes a norm. And then whatever. And then every place we go, we're using a car, and, and we're in every holiday, every celebration is around food, and then we do that over and over and over again. Typically this time of year, my center would be real busy with people who they want to go on a cleanse, they want to lose weight, but they only do that for a short period of time. If you want to live a long time, then you need to be consistent in terms of your movement, your exercise. And again, that typically results in weight loss. Plant-based, I say, you need to get to do plant-based. It's plants, purging, getting rid of a lot of stuff you don't really need, it doesn't serve you. Okay, you've gotten away with probably for far too long. And then you need to pee, poop, and perspire. All right, so you got to drink enough water that you're hydrating your body, and it curbs your appetite and makes and ensures that we're drinking water when we're thirsty and not when we're hungry, and so we'll tend to overeat less. It flushes out impurities and keeps our kidneys and everything functioning as they need to. Pooping, our digestive system. If your digestive system isn't working well, if you're not eliminating 3 times a day, guess what? That's toxicity. That's this excess waste and weight in our body that causes a bulge around the middle. So and digestive health is vitally important because it relates to immune health. It relates to all other systems. So there's some people who say death begins in the colon, death begins with digestion. Our digestion is vitally important. So you need to be pooping on a regular basis as well. I know not many people talk about this. Your doctor probably doesn't ask you about your pooping habits, but it is vitally important. And then let's see, and then perspire, doing your exercise, doing your cardio, etc. And then stress management. Okay, so we talked about, what did we talk about? We talked about some of the things to avoid, the alcohol and the excess, especially excessive alcohol and regular alcohol use and smoking and sugars and fats and those types of things that will exacerbate your blood pressure and that undermine your health. And then we talk about your diet and what needs to be there. And then stress. Stress is major. Oh my goodness. And it's part and parcel to probably all diseases that we have, but in this case, our high blood pressure and heart disease. It's not just what you're eating, but what's eating you. So if you don't like your job, don't like the work that you do, if you get problems with your relationships, your family, or the people that you're around, or whatever, if that's causing stress, if you're watching television and doing things and it's like, or people calling and they have always gotten bad news. Oh my goodness, you know what's going on. Guess what? Then your stress, and stress is cumulative, then that stress is going to increase your blood pressure. Okay. It's going to cause you to feel that you're not safe. It's going to cause you to stay in your home too much and not want to go out and be with people. It's going to cause you to be fearful no matter what you go. Oh my God, I can't go to the gas station. You can't do nothing anymore. People are out there to get you. If that's your perception, if that's what's going on in your life, then you got to manage that. You got to change that. You got to change the perception, or something. You got to make some adjustments there. So the kind of work you do, the people that you're around, whether that's work or socially or family or the people that you worship with or whatever, we got to manage those things. So what is your SOS? Okay. Now just a warning signal. What's your SOS? What's your source of stress or your sources of stress? What's causing stress in your life? Comparison, competition. Oh my God, how am I being evaluated? And all these different things. So you going to school or something, and you got to get all A's. Sometimes you put pressure on yourself. Other times, other people or societal expectations can be put on us. So we got look at that and see what is it you really want to tackle. There's a system that I like called ATM. Okay, and it applies to, it can apply to a number of things, but here's kind of how it works. The A is assessment. The T is, it can be treatment or taking action. The M stands for maintenance, but it's also monitoring and measurement. So here's something that you can do and how you can apply this for your blood pressure, for your heart health, and for your overall health as well. Okay, or whatever you want to accomplish, you can also use this model or template. And that is, so one, assess the situation. Okay, you could assess it from, you can say, what is my blood pressure? In fact, if you know you have high blood pressure, and probably every household needs to have a high blood pressure cuff anyway. But if you know you have high blood pressure, then monitor that. Know what that is. Get that baseline, right? And just write that down. Okay. Okay. So is it high? Is it low? Most people it's not low. Or is it where it should be? Is it normal? Okay. And then monitor and monitor. You're going to monitor this over time. So write down your blood pressure and then decide what you're going to do about it. Now, for some people, they're taking medication. Okay? And medication for some people is an answer. For me, it's not the only answer. And holistically, and for the people that I've counseled, coached, and worked with over the years, they typically, if they're taking blood pressure medication, they want to get off their medication, because usually doctors will say, "Oh, here's a prescription. Take it and take this medication and take it for the rest of your life." Okay, that's going to monitor it. And they're like, "There's got to be a better way than this. That's not a cure. That's not an answer." And by the way, I'm never going to say, don't see your doctor, don't follow your doctor's advice, don't take your medication. I'm not diagnosing, I'm not prescribing. None of that. What I want to do is offer you some solutions, offer you some understanding and some education as we do through the Holistic Training Institute. Okay. So you can better manage your health and for your family members and others. And a lot of this is actually right in alignment with what a lot of the medical authorities and will say, the American medical, so the medical organizations and doctors will say, but they oftentimes they don't believe that you're going to do it, so they end up giving you the medication right in the prescription. Right? But if you want to manage that, if you want to change this, again, so assess what's your blood pressure, what's your what was your blood pressure before you were taking the medication. If you're taking medication, what's your blood pressure currently? What actions can you take in order to make some improvements? And then how do you maintain that over time? So this is what that would look like. So you write down, this is my blood pressure, okay, controlled or uncontrolled, right? You write that down. And then you say, okay, what are the actions I can take? So Dr. Brown said, well, there's some dietary things. Okay, I know I probably eat too many sweets and sweets and meats and da, da, da. So I'm going to make some changes in this. Okay. And guess what? And you really want to make these changes long term, right? If you want to live a long time, you need to make some changes long term. But I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna go more plant-based. People often ask me, Dr. Brown, I want to be vegan. I want to be plant-based. I want to, I want to do this. I'll make this transition. I heard this is good for you. Great. Okay. So what can you do dietarily? Okay. 2, what can you do with supplements? Okay. What do you need? What do you need to add in there? Okay. What additional nutritional support do you need? Would be a part 2. And thirdly would be how do you managing your weight, or what could be exacerbating the condition, what behaviorally, is it smoking, is it alcohol, is it the excess weight that you're going to tackle? And then what is your source of stress? Identify your source of stress and say, you know what, I'm either going to do work, if you're so you're either working or you're retired. Okay, so if you or unemployed, but if you're working, then seriously take a look at your work. Okay, and see, what options do I have with this? How long am I going to be doing this? Can I perceive or do something different? Can I navigate or something? Can I make some adjustments and make this more pleasant? If every Monday or every day I hate going in there, I dread the thought of even going in there, or the people that I'm working with. Because if that's a constant with you, and I know that people need to pay bills and everything, that's a constant, then look at what you can, is there something you can do about it? And then if it's not that, look at your relationships, look at what's going on around you, look at the people, look at those things. And you have an opportunity to form new relationships, to be around people who are positive, who are uplifting, who are doing the things that you want to do, that are going to lead you on a healthier path. Okay? You want to know you want to predict a person's income? Look at the 5 people who are closest around them. That's going to predict their income. You may have heard that. But also, if you want to know a person's state of well-being, look at the 5 people or so who are closest to them. What are those people like? You're pretty much like the people that you're going to associate with. If your folks don't exercise, if they smoke and drink and whatever, so same thing. Okay. All right. So either people are going to help us, either we're going to move closer to where they are, or they're going to move closer to where we are. But if we have a lot of friends that are, again, drinking and smoking and partying, staying up late and doing all kinds of things, or using drugs or whatever, chances are it's going to be the same thing. Recidivism in our prison system, they say when somebody has done a crime, then they've done time, and then they come back, they say, don't go around the same people that you were with. somebody was on drugs and they go into a rehab program and they come off the drugs, they say, don't go and be around the same people you were with before, because guess what? You're going to fall into those same behaviors. So then we can look at those things. I say, so you take about 3 things and you got a program. You got something, you got a program that you can work on, and that can lead you over time to where you want to be. So you made a change in diet, you got some exercise in there, you're managing the stressors, and then you notice, and you're monitoring your blood pressure, and you notice that it's improving. And perhaps the doctor, in the people I've worked with who have been successful with this, then the doctor says, oh, your blood pressure is better. And so they'll start adjusting the medication. But get your blood pressure cuff at home and start monitoring that. Give your doctor feedback. Don't just go there once every 3 months or so to get your blood pressure monitored, but start monitoring it. Give the information, give that feedback to your doctor. Let the doctor adjust your medication. And ideally, and typically, 1, if you lose the weight, your blood pressure tends to go down. 2, if you're exercising more regularly, your blood pressure tends to go down. 3, your stress is addressed, your blood pressure tends to go down. Okay. So as the numbers go down, as the weight goes down, the source goes down, things like that, your blood pressure, which is symptomatic, by the way, tends to fall in line as well. Okay, so we're about 10 to, I think those are the. I mean, there's some other things that could be done. I mean, we can go in. I mean, this could be a mini course or even a full course on managing your blood pressure. Breathing is vitally important. I mean, mention a couple of other things, especially in terms of addressing stress. So I mentioned exercise and talked about the exercise and cardiovascular exercise, but breathing is important as well. You know, there are some systems and there are some people who are doing work with just helping you to manage your breathing and teaching you other breathing techniques that will bring down your blood pressure. And here's another one. And I'm going to say meditation or mindfulness. Meditation or mindfulness. Having some time in your day. It's either once or twice a day. And it typically doesn't have to be long. It can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes or so that you take to just still yourself, okay, from all the goings on in the day, right? And that will tend to bring down your blood pressure, your stress and such. Couple other quick things: journaling, okay, and writing down at least 5 things every day that you are grateful for. 5 positive things. Don't worry about the other stuff. And don't let one thing that happened cloud your day. 5 positive things. Okay? You can start off with find 5 positive things. You'll tend to find more as well. From waking up, being healthy, being able to do X, Y, and Z. If you look for the positive in your life, you're going to find it. Stress is cumulative. High blood pressure doesn't happen overnight. It's a result of what we're eating, what's eating us, and you can manage that. You can handle that. So I wish you all the best. This recording will be available through the on YouTube, and I'm sure it'll be on Facebook Live and YouTube. I want to make this available. If you want to hear more on this, let me know. I want you to like and follow Holistic Training Institute. You can follow. You can also, I think you can follow me, Jesse R. Brown. So I'm under Jesse R. Brown, Holistic Training Institute, and here's a bonus for you. You can get your free class. Thank you, Risa. You can get your free class. It's called The Top 10 Herbs Every Home Needs. This is free from me to you. It's free right now. I may have to start charging for it after time, but right now it's free. Top 10 Herbs Every Home Needs. And the address on that is, you go to holistictraininginstitute.teachable.com. That's WHOLISTIC Training Institute.teachable, TEACHABLE.com. Perhaps somebody can type that into the notes on Facebook here. I mean on Yeah, on Facebook too. And then here in the chat, but Holistic Trading Institute.teachable.com, it'll take you to a free mini course on that. You'll get a lecture, by me on herbs. I just go through my top 10. And if you study herbs or something, you have a top 10. But it addresses a number of the concerns: cardiovascular health, immune system health, and some other things. So take that freebie, then you'll get hooked in, and then we'll also let you know about some other courses and things coming up. I teach herbology. Holistic Trading Institute is a state licensed proprietary school. We're licensed by the state of Michigan. They have been since 1999. But now our focus is naturopathy. Our programs are naturopathic, and that's taking the natural path, and that allow people to become healers in their home, to be what we call empowered, employed, or entrepreneurs. This is a tremendous area to make impact for yourself, your loved ones, as well as the community, to do something positive. We need to stop just working for money or working or recognition or whatever, and look at what is the impact that we have. This is directed to help solve problems for people in ways that honor and still preserve the planet, that are principled, profitable, that you can pass along, and ideally be philanthropic with it as well. Okay, we're not rich by just what we have, we're rich by what we can give away. Okay, so that's the vision, that's the mission. Training healers in every home, in every family, in every community. So I wish you to, as it said scripturally, and above all things, I wish that you would prosper and be in good health as your soul prospers also. So we want to be in our fullness. Follow me, and I'll be sharing more of this, and give me your feedback as well, and I appreciate it. Do we have I think we have time for a question or two if we have something. Do we have something on online? I got my folks. I want to thank Risa and Tanya for.
No one posted anything on Facebook yet. If they have
Okay.
any questions.
Okay. All right. Well, being that that's the case, again, take care of yourselves. This is not just today, but throughout your life. If this is something that benefits you, share it with other people as well. Either you have high blood pressure, heart disease, or you know someone who has high blood pressure. So you can share this with them, and let's heal our communities, turn things around, so we can be healthier, wealthier, and wiser. Remember, Holistic Trading Institute, teachable.com. Thank you.